All right, listeners, welcome back to the Canadian Spartan Podcast. We've got not one, but two special guests on here tonight with a really cool dynamic. Not only are they friends, but they're also athlete coach. So that's kind of fun. So welcome to the podcast. We've got Connor Bell and Ryan Reid here with us tonight. We all know Connor, so let's let Ryan introduce himself first.
For sure. So my name's Ryan. I've been racing Spartan races since I'll say after the pandemic, but I did do one kind of slightly before. I've dabbled in DECA. I've done some Tough Mudder. Anything. I like the ultra world, so anything long, anything tough, challenging. I like to hop into those kind of races. So yeah. And then obviously, Amber, you said it, but being coached by Connor for the past, I think, year or so now, coming up on about a year. Yeah, that's a little bit about me and where I sit right now.
How did you guys meet? How did you meet Connor? Was it online? Was it in person?
It was at your event. Yeah, it was so me and
Nice.
so it's
Oh,
it's
that's fun.
fun. So when we were doing a DECA fit at Pure Impact Athletics, we ended up running ironically in the same heat together. And me and Ryan were kind of like using each other to pace off each other in that heat as well too. And then we kind of like knew of each other, I believe, before that as well too. Like we'd always race at different Spartan races, and like Ryan's a tremendous athlete too. So like even especially his long distance stuff is just like wild to me sometimes the things that he does. And then he like pushes a 5K DECA as fast as he does as well too. Those athletes are always outstanding for me. But yeah, we met at kind of that event, and then we talked more after and just realized it was kind of a good relationship for us. He also helps push me. I think that's like it's a big thing, as a coach as well too, Jill as well too, that like your athletes can help push you just as much as one way goes from coach to athlete, athlete goes to coach too. So yeah, Ryan's awesome. That's it.
Well, he sure has made a bit of some waves in both the DECA and the Spartan age group racing category. We should get into that. Let's start right away into that. Some of your placements that you've had. I know you run Spartans. We just had a big DECA. Ryan went to Worlds this year or in 2023 for DECA. And you can see behind you a big amount of impressive medals. So let's talk about that. How are you doing in the Spartan world? Which races have you done this year, and how have you placed?
So actually, I haven't been able to race a Spartan yet this year, which is real unfortunate. I had planned on doing Toronto. Picked up an injury, so unfortunately had to miss out on that one. And then Tremblant, I chose to do the Infinity in Michigan. So that was one that I did this year
Tough Mudder
instead,
Infinity.
which was, yeah, exactly, which was the same weekend as the Tremblant. So that was a conflict. And then unfortunately, I have to miss out on this one. Still kind of on the recovery from the DECA Ultra 2 weeks ago, and looking to race in a week's time at Pure Impact, your event that you're hosting, Amber. So I want to make sure I'm ready to go for that one. So other than that, yeah, DECA, definitely something that I've continued to hop in and out of ever since I started. I think last February was the first one that I did. That was my first introduction to Connor. I think we briefly spoke at that point, but long before even started coaching, yeah, saw you there. And then yeah, since then, just as they come up in the area, definitely a big fan of just hopping into races, testing, seeing where I'm at with my fitness. And then in the end, did qualify for Worlds last year for DECA, raced the all three, so the fit, the strong, and the mile. And my probably biggest placement to date was I actually ended up winning the fit for my age group last year. So
incredible.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
It was a big surprise, and it felt great.
And like you beat some big names too. Like that was the thing too. I think you even kind of surprised yourself as well too during it.
I think it was, yeah, it wasn't really up until maybe the I want to say the D-ball overs even in that race that I thought I could win it, even running it during. It was always like, oh, I'm in a real good position. I think I'm gonna hold on for a podium place, or and going in, thinking through everything. It was, oh, can I get third in this? Can I get one of those deltas? Because to date, the only one I had got before that was the bronze here, which was the age group national series, I think from 2022, where ran all the races, and was able to come away with third in that one. Yeah, so great
That's awesome.
achievement, and
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to Connor soon, but while we're still kind of chatting with Ryan here, so the biggest race you recently did, and it was the first ever, it was the DECA Fit Ultra. So for those who don't know, basically what that means is he did the DECA Fit 5 times through start to finish. So usually when you finish your 20 ram burpees, you cross the finish line. Ryan decided it'd be a great idea to go to do it 4 more times through. So how did you prepare for that, Ryan? What kind of madness did Connor put you through?
Uh, I made it real tough on Connor leading up to that race because 8 weeks before I was at a work event and tore my hamstring. So um through going through that, I was very limited in what I could do up until only a few weeks right before. But Connor was really good to push me and just kind of say like, what you can do, just keep moving. So lots and lots of volume on the bike, where I was doing quite regularly. An hour and a half to 2.5 hours on the bike a day, followed by like stretching, just to keep it moving, make sure I was holding like some decent level of fitness, and then just had to kind of trust that, okay, strength will come back at some point, and it slowly did, and then of course it was just about getting the feeling of having a heart rate above 150 again, because on the bike, like, I couldn't push fast enough to really jack the heart rate up. So Connor had a lot of good, specific prep for those workouts. Yeah, I felt some real tough long ones as well. That hour to 2 hour domain. Getting familiar with what, like, when fatigue starts to set in, what some of the strategies for fueling for that race would be. Just making sure I was real comfortable and confident going in, that it was something that I could tackle. It was something I could continue to move through, and yeah, see where I could push through it. So yeah, it was definitely a unique prep for that event, but I feel like all in all, given the circumstances, it turned out well. So
Yeah, you jumped into the elite field too, which is so impressive. I love that, that you would just go into that, and you kept a great time. Like, I kind of estimated that the men, I mean, I didn't think you guys would go that fast. Not that I didn't have confidence, but the speed at which you went it blew me away completely. So good for you.
it
What was your you kept like a sub 4. It was 3 something, right?
3:28, and change, I think, was my time, and yeah, I was. I kind of estimated myself that I'd be in that range, but I was definitely happy I hopped into the elite wave for that one. That
Mm.
was, between Spartan and DECA and everything like that. This was my first time in the wave, so it it was really impressive running alongside some of the elites, and it really gives you like an appreciation for just like the levels that there are to the competition. So yeah, great learning experience, and happy I did so, and
Because
some
But like,
takeaways for sure.
Mhm.
you totally belonged there though. Like, I hope you
Absolutely.
have grasped that and understand that. Like, you were totally in the right place for that race. And I think you need to just see yourself kind of at that level. And I think that's the biggest step a lot of racers take, when they're used to age group and they just don't see that for themselves. But now you've been in the field, you've held your own, you've put up a phenomenal time. And I hope you see that for yourself,
For
like,
sure.
moving
Like
forward.
Yeah, for sure. I agree that, it's where I want to be going forward. And it's made me confident that when I do eventually race the Spartan this year, I'll make that decision. I know there's not really a choice anymore. It's kind of combined anyways, but that I'll put myself in one of the top heats. But, just saying that, uh, there is that appreciation for some of the guys that I was racing against, and there's just like a lot of opportunities to continue to learn. And I think it's one of those things where you got to race and like see what that level is in order to take that next step yourself. So.
And you would be are you still in the 18 to 24 category is that your
No, so
bumping
I
to the
moved
next?
I moved up this year, yeah. So just turned 25. So
And
now I'm in.
that's really incredible to be at your age. I don't like downplaying, oh, you're this age, so that means like you've got so long to go, but to have the drive and the motivation and stuff to even believe in yourself, as Amber said. And this was actually just Connor's idea to bring you on with all of us to tell you that you're great and you should continue to do elite. Look at Connor. He's very happy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so it's so incredible watching that. And I know you had raced a team before. That was really fun. And it's really great to see Ryan at all the races. We are so pumped to see you in the Spartans this year. Are you coming to Blue Mountain then? Would that be your next race?
I haven't signed up yet, but my plan is I will do that in like probably one of the races. I need to see how I'm feeling at that time. I know your goal as well is World's Toughest,
Yes, is that
which
yours for this year too?
yes. So that's
Okay.
definitely, yeah, that's the A races for this year.
Awesome.
And Blue Mountain I think is 2 to 3 weeks out. So
Mhm.
I anticipate it'll be, I'll be ready for a good test at that point. I
Mhm.
just don't know whether it'll be, if the 10 and the 5 in the same day, or the 21, or what that will look like. So
So was this your first year doing Tough Mudders, by the way?
yeah, so the Michigan, the one in Michigan was my very first one.
Hmm.
And then I'll be doing Chicago as well. So yeah, it's similar feel to Spartan. On the race course, it's very different. Like Spartan, you get a bit more, at least within like the age group pro scene, or elite wave, sorry. That you get a lot more tough competition, and there people still are nice, of course, and
Yeah.
there's you're talking on course and all the competitors, but in Tough Mudder, everything everyone, especially some of those endurance races, everyone kind of slows down a touch, and there's a lot more lending hands on the obstacles, and you really form packs. So it's been a neat experience through that Michigan race, and I'm excited for the next few. So, and to see what
Okay,
the world's toughest mudder is all about.
I have one more question before we shift gears.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your background in sports?
Hmm.
Like,
Good
you're
question.
like the jack of all trades. Like, what's your background here?
So up until high school, I played a little bit of everything: hockey, soccer, rugby, baseball. But then really high school, my main sport was sprint kayaking. I have a
Oh,
club.
cool.
Yeah, I have a club right near my house, so it was really convenient to bike over there. Um, I was telling Connor on the weekend, actually, it was a lot of long days during the summer where you're doing different like cross training sessions. You're in the boathouse, you're doing weights, you're doing on water sessions. So it's helped in the transition to this. But I did through university kind of drop that, picked up a little bit of CrossFit, did that for a few years, and then found my way back to more the running hybrid area, and I think it's been a pretty good fit. So
Yeah, it's
I
neat
think
to
so.
see so many there are so many up and coming people that are across of everything right now, and that's really neat to see. And it's great to see with Spartan as a brand branching into all the different areas. So very awesome to see that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ryan's like the epitome of hybrid. I love that.
Yeah. He literally is
Seriously.
hybrid. There we nailed it.
Yeah. Okay, so shifting gears here. Let's talk about the Canadian Spartan series, because we just had some races. We've had some standings now. So Connor, tell us all about that. What's happening in
Yes,
the
where are
series?
you in the standings?
First things first. Hold on. I didn't want to. There's so many. There's three of us, and I didn't want to get in on Ryan being like the fourth one. We were saying that
Oh
too.
yeah,
We didn't
ask
talk about him
away.
being an elite during like, should I go elite? Should I not go elite?
Mm,
I'm so damn happy that he did too at the same time, because it's like, I mean, now with Spartan, the whole competitive field now, it's kind of forced you to go into this different thing, which I love at the same
love
time.
it.
But DECA still has this like different thing that we're doing here, right? So like, it was such a good, I think, like, and again, Ryan, you know best because you were there too, but like an eye opener of like, yeah, I belong on this stage. I can. Yeah, there's gonna be athletes that are obviously more well versed at certain things too, but like just to know overall with your time how good it was too. It's like, I'm not even trying to pump your tires when I say it. When I saw your time, I was like, holy,
Hmm.
I'm not going to swear on this thing because I don't know if we're supposed to, but holy balls, we'll say. It was a really good time. I don't know if that's a
I'm
swear.
just gonna say it for you, Connor.
Yeah,
Rookie performance of the race right there.
100%, right?
Let's just call it what it is.
For
Rookie of
sure.
the race right
For
there.
sure. Yeah, super, super good. Yeah, I'm really happy to have him as a partner at your event coming up here too. It's going to be a good time. Canada National Series. Okay, so you got your 5K in Red Deer. Sorry, yeah, 5K in Red Deer that we have. We had 10K in Tremblant. We got the 21K in Kelowna as well too, right? You got to go to all three races. That's the difference in this, and I think it's the same with the U.S. National Series that they do as well too for this year. Let's just call a spade right now. That makes the field cut a lot. And
Hmm.
that's a big thing I think that all of us need to recognize too. I'm not downplaying any of my performance. I'll get into that in a second. But obviously, like if you have to go to all three and you can't afford to go to all three, or you don't
Hmm.
have the availability to go to all three, it makes things a lot more difficult, right? So you even see on the women's field, I think Susan and one other woman are the only two in there, and people are like, well, if you would have made it so you only had to go to two of them out of the three or something, would have made things a little bit easier, which I think Spartan will maybe try to find a way around next year, maybe 3 of 4 type of thing, or like somehow diversifying the field a little bit so that we can find a different way to find a I don't want to say a true champion, but somebody that has a good display of fitness in the 5K, the 10K, and the 21K, short distance to long distance, without having to go everywhere and spend all that money. Because I think you were even saying to Amber at one point in one of your other podcasts, it's really difficult to like
Hmm.
get to all. It makes it super inconvenient for all of us. Like it's like
Yep.
we're all very used to like the demands of sport, but then add in all of the transportation, you know what I mean, all of the traveling as well too, the money that we have to spend too. It just makes it a lot, right? But nonetheless,
We
um,
have less races too in Canada. So, I could see like Spartan's always evolving and trying to do things differently, especially in the Canadian side. I know they always work hard to make the best of what they can do. So I would hope for something like that too, given that
for
we
sure.
only have a few race weekends. So,
For sure, absolutely. And like to be honest, for me, like it almost forces me to go to these other places that I would have not otherwise gone to unless the series was part of this. So for me, being where I am, for me, it was actually kind of a plus because I don't know if I would have went to Red Deer and Kelowna, and now I get a chance to go see different places and different courses that I would have been unfamiliar with. So I don't know if you've asked me a specific question. I think that you've just asked me about the Canada
how
National Series.
so how did it go? How like what tell us walk us through that race or run us through that race.
So do you want to know about the 5K or you want about the 10K? Which one
We
do you
want
want?
Yeah, because we haven't talked to you since you have done either race.
Yeah.
Have we? I know I've talked to you
Oh,
offline a little bit, so let's
yeah.
start with the 5K. Let's do a little
Okay.
quick
Well,
recap.
the 5K was second, so it went to 10K, then it
Oh,
went to
sorry, the
5.
10K.
Okay, so we'll do Tremblant first. Okay. Now it was a little upsetting. So you might have seen there was actually video footage of it at the same time. It's all right. It
There
happened.
is.
So yeah. So there's a pretty steep climb in the beginning of Tremblant, the 10K, as we all know with Tremblant. And I hit the monkey bars, something that I feel rather proficient about. I rarely fail them. And I went to swing for the bell, but somebody had hit the bell before me, and the bell went that way. And then when I went to swing for it, the bell moved the other way, and I basically took a full swing and just missed the whole bell. And I was like, oh no. And then I looked for the penalty loop as one does during that time and in complete disarray. And the guy kind of just pointed aside. It was the dirtiest penalty loop. There was like a huge ditch that you had to go down and then back up and then up this huge hill. And I'm like, oh no. So I kind of hit a point where I think I was in like fourth and I fell back to like eighth or ninth or something at that point. And it's at that point too where you kind of got to ask yourself, like, why you're doing it right now, and if you're willing to get pretty dark. Or you just give up and you're like, you know what, it is what it is at this point. Like, I just screwed myself. And I chose the first thing, and I was like, hey, I guess I just gotta see like if I can start passing people and catching some momentum. And I did it with a few people as well too. Me and Mark Budd ended up pushing each other pretty well. And yeah, I ended up coming, I think, 7th in that race altogether, and put up a really good time compared to my last time. But the competition in these fields with these Canada National Series, they're wild. But I kind of like it now too. For me, where I am in my stage of racing, I was saying it to Ryan the other day as well too, is that it's that like next level of incentive and push that I really enjoy now too, because it's like there was one race that we had in Toronto, and there was like a whole bunch of us of all the top 6 except for Jesse Bruce. He was just gone 10 minutes ahead on his own. Yeah, but there's like 6 of us all fighting for second and third the entire time, and it was really, really cool. So that's kind of how that race went. Great venue. I love Tremblant. I always will. But that was the first race. The second race in Red Deer, obviously it's fast, it's flatter, it's a 5K. And you don't really have much room to breathe with respect to the obstacles, as we all know in 5K, whether it be any venue, you miss an obstacle, you're going to be hurting, especially when you have guys like Brennan Neely out there as well too. And yeah, I mean, I missed my spear. That was it, and it dropped me back a little bit. I think I came 7th in that race as well too. Right now, overall, I sit 3rd in the Canada National Series, which I'm really happy about. Yeah, at the same time too, and I'm gonna go to Kelowna and see if I can protect that 3rd to win some potential money at the same time. So I've been running a lot of hills, so I've never been to this venue before, so I've just been looking at a lot of course layouts. But yeah, no, it's fun. I think the Canada National Series is something that should be around. Again, I'm loving that they're doing it for age group and for the elites as well too. That makes things really, really good to split things up as well. A lot of different people coming out. But yeah, I hope that they just find a way to make it more inclusive for everybody.
Yeah, both on the west and on the east side too. Because I know before it went out west for the last 2 years, it was more predominantly in the east side of things. So we got the benefit of that. So maybe there is some bridge that they are working on to get that to make it the top of the top athletes. Something's got to give, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I'm with you on the competitive, the way that competitive set up now. It is so awesome because if you get in the right seed, then you're competing with people that are your speed. So you're constantly
For sure.
competing rather than, I mean, maybe for someone in an age group that doesn't maybe go as fast, you are now with people in different age groups that go at your level. And then the same thing for if you are a great racer, but maybe you're on the slower side, you are going to be racing with those people and be more competitive in that. So I think that they nailed, I
For
think,
sure.
this year.
And it's like it's nice when they switch up a course, and I think everyone could talk about this at the same time. However, it's nice when the course almost stays exactly the same, because you can actually look at your time from the year before. And I
Yes.
mean, it is a you against you at the end of the day. I think again we can all agree that like, at the end of the day we all get better by just bettering ourselves, as much as we're all competing against each other. But to be able to go back and look at my time from 2 years ago in the 10K and the 5K, and then from this time, even after missing the spear, it's like, okay, it's like it's nice to be able to still compare those things, right? So yeah, they run courses backwards and forwards sometimes too, if they switched up, as you guys know. But yeah, it gives you some like definitive numbers, and I'm just a numbers guy. I like numbers.
Yes,
So
and
yeah.
didn't you, I believe I'm recalling a funny, you had a weird race one time in Red Deer at one point, wasn't it? Or was it Kelowna?
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah,
Red
you,
Deer.
it was
Yeah.
Red Deer. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the redemption races back at Red Deer.
It was. It felt like a redemption race. For anyone who doesn't know, I split my leg open on the box. It was bad. There was blood and there was bone, and it was
Not pretty.
unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, it was a big redemption. Every time I look at that scar, I'm always like, okay, gotta go back to Red Deer and see if I can do something. So I guess we
So
did something.
we will for sure see you at Kelowna then. Are you coming out this weekend for Ottawa?
I am. I'm gonna be there. So I have so many race weekends coming up. Like I am a big proponent, and I've said to Ryan too, of like not racing every single weekend. And Amber knows this about me too. Like I usually don't do that type of thing. And like I am for some reason over this like 10-week period, I have like 8 races of like Decas and Spartans and High Roxes and all these things and such, which I'm excited about, but I usually don't have it like that. So I was gonna race the 10K competitive, and now I'm not. I'm gonna race the 5K competitive on the Sunday, and then the 10K trail race actually is what I'm
Oh,
gonna do
nice.
after, because I just want to see a trail race and what it's all about. So yeah, still 2 races, but on Saturday I have 4 athletes going to that one, so I'm just gonna coach on the Saturday, and
Nice.
I'm kind of excited for it to not be in full athlete mode and like just staring hardcore in the start line and just being like, okay, I don't have to feel the anxiety for this
Mhm.
Saturday.
Are you
And
Yeah.
the
going to be able to
trail,
do that without hopping into the
It's
race?
gonna be so difficult going there and being like not. I was saying to one of my friends as well too, like I don't, it's gonna be so much FOMO, but I'm kind of excited to like actually test myself and see if I don't race, which I'm not. I'm promising myself. I'll take the chip and give it right back to her when I go in there.
we'll make sure that you're like banned from the first day of races.
Not allowed, not
Because you
allowed.
know
It might
what,
be
that'll be
fun.
great for your athletes too, to have you there cheering. I mean, nobody
So
obviously
cool.
expects an athlete coach to be there like completely all the time. They know you're
Yeah.
racing, but it is kind of nice to be there. Just like funny story, Amber related at DECA, we're all racing teams, including Miss Amber. She's racing with Jess in an age group team. And she's coaching everybody at the same time that she's racing, like not
Exactly.
just one group of people, like literally 3 teams she's coaching and giving high fives, and they're still winning. So
Okay, but can I just say that was honestly one of my most favorite team races to date. It
of
was just so
course.
fun. It was like just me, all my people, just having a great time. We all happened to just kill it out there, which was like just the cherry on top. I mean, Ryan's not part of our team, but he's a fellow Canadian. It was just such a blast. I
I
don't know.
love
I loved every second of it.
It was kind of hilarious if you were to watch from the outside, Amber.
And I have to point out, I have to give a shout out to Lily because she was partnered with
that.
Zach, my husband,
Yeah.
Zach Tait,
Mhm.
which we all know what he's capable of on the machines. And they had this agreement that Zach would just do whatever Lily told him to do. She did the full 500-meter row. So,
Let's
like,
go.
shout out to Lily because there's no way if he was on my team, I would be doing that. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty epic and she crushed it and they got third place podium together and
They
So
did.
good.
Lily did great. So that
Yeah, it
was
was an
fun.
impressive race. It was good, kind of pushing back and forth between the group of us. It was yeah, lots of
Yeah,
fun.
it's you get so
Yeah.
much energy from being at events. I think this is what is so basically, if you've just started Spartan racing and you've just done a 5K, you start doing more and then you start meeting people and then you start traveling and then you see them in places like not your home, not your regular races. And it's like the best feeling ever to be like standing there and cheering for Ryan in his first elite race or seeing Connor or, being with Amber. It's a fantastic feeling. So I think you start with one and then you just kind of it cycles from there. It snowballs.
There is a hell of a community, especially with the, I mean, I know the American and the underdogs as well too, but like the Canadians, when they come out big, and there's like our world support was awesome. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere
Team
too. Even
Canada.
even in Tough Mudder too, because now and Ryan could probably say the same thing. There's tons of Canadians there, and I was new last year to the not new, but new to the ultra Tough Mudder part. And they like I always wear my Canada headband there, and they will find you. Like it's like they gravitate right to you, and then you've got this team of people that you've just met, and now they're your friends, and you're racing all night with them. So
Well, and
it's
I
the
think the
same.
cool thing is too that we all like we see each other a lot. Like we see each other at the Spartan Hill, at all the Decas, like Tough Funner, like you see each other frequently enough. So as much as there's like all these like little sub teams, really and truly, we're just like one big happy family. And it's just so much fun racing out there. Like, I would not be disappointed if I got beat by Connor because I
No.
like him. I'm cheering for him,
Back
like
at
it's
you, Box Queen.
Team
Yeah.
Canada, let's go.
Exactly.
So
You can never be upset for that. It's great.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about doing more races, come find myself or Connor or Ryan or Amber at a race. We will talk to you. It's one of those things. They always make fun of you. How do you know someone is a Spartan racer? Well, they will just tell you. Like,
Fair.
it's gonna come up.
My friends hate me. I'm always trying to get them to come out to more and more races. So yeah, anyone who's already out there will definitely support you in that
You know what
decision.
my trick that works almost every time? I mean, it's not bulletproof, but most of the time, I just tell them, I'm like, you know what? Okay, we're gonna do a team, and I'm just gonna do whatever you don't want to do.
That's
That's
good.
that's exactly what I did with my girlfriend
Right?
when we were racing in Fort Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was such a good sport to just jump in and she kept
I
up with you and rocked it. You guys did really well.
I told her 2 days before, and yeah, it was exactly what you said, Amber. You just have to say, yeah, come on, all you have to do, it's really 1K of running, and then anything past that, you choose what you want. So
She
So
did great
supportive.
though. She did
yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah, I
anyways,
was very impressed.
I think we can probably end it off here. I think the
Yeah.
moral of the story is if you want to do a DECA and you don't want to row 500 meters, put Lily on your team. I'm just kidding. No, seriously, thanks so much to both you guys for joining us tonight. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot of different directions and stories tonight, but that was
So many
awesome.
recaps. This was a
Yeah,
great
we had a lot.
recap episode, and I'm looking forward to recapping the next one because I feel like this year is the year of racing. There are so many races going on.
For sure. And it's kind of like we're at
Yeah.
like the halfway point right now. I feel like we all can feel it right now. It's kind of in the air. I mean, like we've got DECA,
Yeah.
other events coming up. We've got Worlds coming up for DECA. We've got all these Tough Mudders coming up as well too. We've got different Spartan National Series races. This is the precipice right now. Good word. I
Yes.
know.
So
Yeah.
what is the best coaching advice that you can give Connor
Holy
mid-season? What would you?
mid-season. It
Yes.
really depends what you're doing right now, but I think the best thing I could say is consistency is going to kind of trump everything, right? Regardless, and I think Ryan said it best too. It's like regardless of kind of what is going on with like your body, like let's say you had hypothetically have run like 60 miles on a Tough Mudder or something, or like 25 kilometers on a Deca Fit Ultra, trying to find something that you can still stay consistent with, and that could even be recovery oriented as well too. Make sure you're using your time best right now. I just got an ice bath today that I'm still waiting to set up right now. So I'm like really, really jacked up about that. But
I have mine now too. So
yeah. So like, I mean, prioritize your time correctly. And then when you get close to a race, start to specify on your movements a little bit. And hopefully it gets you ready for where you want. But again, you're just going to keep it progressing as long as you stay consistent. So
I
consistency.
love that.
love it.
I love that. Well, cheers to consistency, everybody.
Right.
And that means these two need to stay consistent and come back to our podcast. So